You're watching Sports Beat.
It's almost difficult to answer that question because, everything's normally shut down here on Sunday.
First Sunday game here, it's going to be a little strange.
This place gives me goosebumps every time.
So whether it's Sunday or Monday or, I'm glad that we're at home.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a packed house as usual, but it's going to be a little strange.
Some of the best fans in the NBA, they're going to be here no matter if it's Sunday, Christmas, no matter what. I think they're going to be here in the same type of environment, rowdy.
He's back.
The playoffs. So I don't even let that come in my mind.
Yeah, hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Beat. Glad to have you aboard tonight. Welcome to Vivint Smart Home Arena. And yes, this place was definitely rocking and rolling tonight for Game 4 of the Jazz and Clippers. Now, use any cliche you want. For the Jazz, down 2-1 in this series, backs against the wall, do or die, now or never. This was pretty much a must-win situation for the Jazz to even up this series in Game 4. Of course, Blake Griffin out for the Clippers with a sore toe. And bad news for the Jazz even before we got started. Gordon Hayward's been sick all day. They're calling it food poisoning, but he was still able to at least start this game. However, the Jazz got their big man back tonight. Yeah, Rudy Gobert back in the lineup after hyperextending his knee 17 seconds into Game 1. Of course, Blake Griffin out, as we mentioned. And Rudy going right to work early on the rebound, and no problem with the knee right there. Gordon Hayward, he'll spot for 3. Put the Jazz up 4, but that's Gordon's only bucket. He only played 9 minutes in the first quarter, couldn't continue, so he left. Derek Favors off the bench for Rudy. Joe Ingles finds him. Jazz up 5, but the Clippers ended the first quarter with a 12-2 run. DeAndre Jordan puts it in. Jazz down 2 after 1. In a second, Ingles again to Rudy, and Rudy will take care of business. Check out the move by George Hill. How about that? Over to Favors. Jazz down only 1 now. Rodney Hood, who's been a little quiet in the first 3 games, pumps up the volume with that 3. We're tied at 47. Jazz on a 9-2 run. Ingles to Rudy again. And he looks fine, right? 10 points in the first half for Rudy. Jazz have a 3-point lead at the break. In the third, Jamal Crawford. Man, he was big tonight. Drops a 3. Clippers up 3 as we head to the 4th. So it's crunch time. In the 4th, like he's done all series long, Chris Paul time. He gets the bucket. Jazz in a little bit of trouble now, down 7, but Joe Johnson getting the Jazz closer. 5 straight points. Cuts the lead to 2. Next trip down. Joe Johnson again. 7 straight for Joe. We're tied at 87. 5.5 minutes left. If you're hot, you're hot. Go back to him. Johnson, 11 straight points. Jazz have a 1-point lead with 4 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Rodney Hood drains the 3. Jazz up 5. Clippers went nearly 7 minutes without a field goal, while Hood, he gets back-to-back buckets. Jazz now up 7 with a minute and a half left. Joe Ingles finishing things off with the corner 3. Joe Johnson, 26 points. Hood, 18 points. Favors, 17. Gobert, 15 points, 13 boards. Jazz win Game 4 by 7. Series all knotted up now at 2 games apiece as they now move back to L.A. for Game 5 on Tuesday night. And Jeremiah, when you look at this with Hayward out, so many guys stepped up and came up with big plays in that 4th quarter, especially the old guy, Joe Johnson.
It's been a great season for the Jazz, but the recurring theme is injuries or food poisoning, whatever it might be. It just seems like something's always going to happen. They finally get Rudy back. Everyone here is excited, and then Gordon can't go because of food poisoning. It's just unbelievable, though, that every time this team faces some sort of adversity, they respond, and they respond in a big way, and it happened tonight. I mean, in the 4th quarter, the Jazz are down 7 with 7:37 left in the game, and then they started this run. I mean, they were facing a 3-1 deficit, and then Joe Johnson decides, you know what? Not going to happen. I mean, 20 of the final 22 points were scored either by Joe Johnson or assisted by Joe Johnson. He took this game over, and he willed the Jazz to victory.
Joe Johnson, he just took over the game.
How spectacular has he been?
Well, we were kidding around. It's Sunday, and they used to call him Joe Jesus.
Let ISO Joe do what he does best.
In that 4th quarter, I think he was, the best that I ever seen him play.
He just took over the game. They couldn't guard him.
He has that impact because of his poise. I think he settles everybody. He's so sure with the ball.
It's not often you find a guy that has that combination of skill as far as his ability to handle the ball and make plays.
It's just his body language, you know what I mean? When he goes into his ISO mode, you know, he's scoring, he's getting in the lane, he's getting anything he wants. He made a couple good passes as well to myself, and he had Joe in the corner. So, you know, just his poise in those situations is big for us. I mean, I think, you know, what we went through during the season, you know, prepared us for now. You know, when the guy goes down, we all rally together, and we play hard to give ourselves a chance to win. And then, you know, it's up to a couple guys to hit shots to put us over the hump like Joe did.
Our team's been doing this, you know, this year. You know, we haven't, it's ironic, we hadn't done it without Rudy, and we hadn't done it without Gordon. And those were the two guys that hopefully Joe Ingles won't go down, because he's the only other one that's basically played all the games. So it can't say enough about Derek Favors, the job he did defensively and, you know, in the offensive end, giving us a lift early. And, you know, Rodney obviously picked up his level. He's been playing with more of a purpose and more aggressively, and I think when Gordon went out, you know, he really, you know, he took the opportunity to step up his level. And then obviously Joe Johnson, it's just, we're lucky to have him.
Yes, they are. It's a good night to be named Joe. Joe Ingles with a career-high 11 assists, and, of course, Joe Johnson, 11 in a row during that important 17-5 stretch to allow the Jazz to tie the series up at 2 and send it back to L.A. for Game 5. Brittany, you were in the Clippers locker room. Boy, what a complete opposite feeling it was for them compared to Game 3.
Well, and you may remember in Game 3, it was the Clippers that led that comeback, and it was the Jazz that collapsed in the fourth quarter, and now it was the Clippers' turn. They were up by 7 points in the fourth. You thought this game was headed in a win column in their direction. Jamal Crawford off the bench had 25 points. He had 5 three-pointers, which was a career high for him. But nevertheless, it was the Clippers that were on the losing end of this one.
We had a couple of breakdowns down the stretch. We need to be able to cover for each other and just trust our defense and make it tougher for guys to catch the ball and not let them catch it where they want to and get to the sweet spots. We got to have a little bit more resistance.
Oh, it definitely was a missed opportunity, especially with Hayward, you know, being out for the majority of the game and us having a lead, you know, 7-point lead there in the fourth. Yeah, it's a missed opportunity. That's just, you can call it that.
You can go back and look at the games that Gobert played in the regular season. I think we were still scoring 115. So it's more on the other end that I thought their bigs had an impact.
I think he gave him more of an emotional lift than anything. You know, obviously he's a really good player, but whenever you miss, you know, a game or two or miss time, we're all creatures of habit when you're in rhythm, you know, and I think it was more emotional than anything else.
Do you think this series has been unusual? A starter goes down for each team, and somehow that team ends up winning.
Yeah, you know, it's a weird series. Two road wins. Rudy goes down, Blake goes down, Hayward's sick. We just gotta keep playing.
The playoff series, again, as you're mentioning, Rod, tied at 2 apiece in this one. But the Clippers have home court advantage, so if this goes down to a Game 7, it's going to be in L.A.
The Jazz have some momentum, and they got confidence. They've already won in L.A. now, and if Gordon is okay, they're going to have a full lineup for Game 5.
Did we expect anything else? No.
No, that's the way the series has gone.
Okay, hey, we all remember Michael Smith, right? Played for the BYU Cougars back in the 80s. Well, now he's a broadcaster for Clippers television, and I had a chance to catch up with him moments after this game finished to get his thoughts on the Jazz big win here in Game 4. Michael, let's begin with Rudy Gobert, the impact he made in his return.
Well, if you look at it just numbers-wise, I mean, the Clippers were dominated in the paint in the previous games that Gobert didn't play. I think 60 points in the paint Game 2 and then 48-28 in Game 3. There was an immediate impact there. You didn't see Chris Paul in the lane doing all that magical stuff. I don't even think the Clippers had a fast break point. So that's Gobert, too. Second chance points, they were less than 10. But just the emotional lift that he gave this building. I knew he would play in the series, and everyone on my side was saying, oh no, hyperextended knee, he's not going to play. I said, no, I saw him last night in the press room. I saw him walk. That guy's going to play.
And Chris Paul usually takes over the first 3 games in the fourth quarter, but tonight Jazz did a nice job on him.
Quinn Snyder is a bright little guy. So, okay, he's got all these years in coaching under some great names, Popovich and Larry Brown, and so he's been schooled by a lot of the best. And Each game he's made an adjustment defensively. So in my mind, I'm thinking, after I watched Chris Paul go to town on you guys in the fourth quarter in game 3, I'm thinking he's going to take the ball out of his hands. Now, he didn't do it early, but in the fourth quarter, he smothered him with traps. And what I thought was brilliant is he kept Favors in the game. So when he smothered Chris, you know Favors' wingspan is like 7'4".
And he played well.
He played great after a non-factor game in game 3.
But how weird has this series been? Rudy goes out in game 1, Jazz win game 1. Blake Griffin goes out for the second half in game 3. Clippers win game 3. Hayward only plays 9 minutes.
I know.
And the Jazz win.
I know. And I mean, if you're the Clippers, when I saw at halftime that Hayward wasn't coming back in, you know Doc's thinking we got a chance.
Yeah.
You know, because we were kind of in that game. And what a reversal of fortune. I mean, in the fourth quarter, the Clippers were down 8 in game 3 with 8 minutes to go and came back and won. And Clippers were up 5 here until the Joe Johnson experiment took over.
How about the old guy?
35. And again, give the GM of the Jazz a lot of credit because they go out and get this guy, not just DL, but Johnson. And Johnson looks like to me he could play another 5 years. Your 2 MVPs, and this is no disrespect to Hayward, because his game 3 was remarkable. Your 2 MVPs both are named Joe. Joe Ingles and Joe Johnson. They might be your 2 slowest players, and so far they've been unreal.
Yeah. All right, well, it's good to see you back.
It's been a long time.
It's been
30
been a long
years
time since you've been around here. You look like you still play, though.
I'm still in shape, but I can't play.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
All right, good to see
you in L.A. on Tuesday.
You got it.
Now, Michael's a smart dude. Before the series started, he called it, said Jazz win game 1, Clippers win game 2 and 3, Jazz win game 4. So I asked him who's going to win game 5. He said the Clippers. He said the Jazz will win game 6. He said it's going to 7. I'm not going to argue with him.